Someone on the channel just left a fantastic comment. We're going to go over it. We're going to break it down. Let's go. Just Me, thanks for the comment. The first part of your comment says you're not sure one can completely change their thoughts without changing their environment. I agree wholeheartedly. Your environment influences the internal influences the external. You are correct. However, we don't have ultimate control over the environment, but we do have maybe not ultimate control over the inner environment, but we do have a way more control over the internal than the external. You talked about your family moving further north, but there's only so far north you can go. Exactly. You can run away from your problems, but there ain't no place that far. In other words, as Brer Rabbit said. A huge reason why we study spirituality is for exactly what you stated. You cannot, no matter how often you change your environment is going to change itself, because we live in a world with other people, with other animals, with weather patterns. The external environment is chaos. We have no control. We have very little control over it. You can move as far as you want. You can move as far north as you want, and trouble will still find you. Instead of trying to focus on the external world, which is much more difficult to maintain, we focus on the internal world. We focus on the internal peace. We focus on the internal skills. We focus on the internal mindsets. We say, I will have a certain mindset despite the external world. And the stronger your willpower is, the stronger your mindset is, the stronger your beliefs are, the more it's going to take to change that, to disturb that peace from the external. Does that mean there's absolutely no way that, or does that mean that it's going to work every time? Absolutely not. In agreement with you, if your environment grows and gets heavier and heavier, no amount of internal strength will overcome the external pressure. Yes, I agree. We need to balance both the external and the internal, but it starts at the internal. We have more control over the internal. That's the important part. You say gratitude can't be thanked, you say that gratitude can't be faked, and I wholeheartedly disagree with that. And here's why. Our minds are pliable. We change our minds on repetition. Hypnosis, propaganda, the propaganda that both you and I agree upon, from TV shows, from movies, from magazines, from books, they're all little seeds that we plant into our mind, and that they grow. You can change an entire nation this way. Gratitude works the same way. You can plant little seeds inside of your mind. Oh, I'm thankful that I have water today. Does it feel disingenuous? Maybe it does. It probably does, because we don't ever stop to be thankful for something as simple as water, because we have it so often. But put yourself in the middle of the desert, you get a tall glass of water. How thankful for that water are you going to be? The fact that you can't be grateful for something isn't objectively true. It's not that, oh, I'm faking it by being grateful just for waking up today, or I'm faking it just because. Are you following? What happens is we train ourselves to be grateful and thankful for things that are mundane, that we shouldn't be thankful for. And yes, it feels fake at first, but that's because you've taken it for granted for such a long time. When we stop taking things for granted and we find gratitude in things that feels fake, and we can actually change that, and it might take a long time. These gratitude rituals and meditations took not years, but at least a year before I was like, all right, now I'm training my mind to seek out things that I am grateful for. And it's not, now my life is better. Oh, now I'm more spiritual. It's hormones. It's dopamine. It's a overall state of mind, an overall frequency that we can maintain to make our lives more enjoyable. I understand that you feel like you're forcing the idea of gratitude. We all feel the same exact way. But you have to think about it. If you can't be grateful, genuinely grateful for something like watching a sunrise, or hearing your child laugh, or these mundane things, if you can't experience genuine gratitude from something simple like that, you got to take a step back and think about, what does that say about myself, that I feel like I'm forcing gratitude for simple things? And the answer to that or discovering the answer to that, is exactly why we do it. Why is it that I can't find genuine gratitude in simple mundane things? Why do I feel like I'm forcing gratitude for a glass of water, for a good meal? You know what I mean? Because it says a lot about your internal state, that you can't find happiness in simple things. And when you try to find gratitude in simple, mundane things, you feel disingenuous. Why? Why is it that someone like me can look at the most simplest thing and be like, thank you? And why is someone like you goes to the same thing and says, I'm forcing this? It's not wrong or right. All we're trying to do is uncover aspects of ourselves so that we can maintain some sort of sanity in a world that it's as chaotic as you mentioned, as we both agree on. The second part of your comment where you're talking about, doesn't that mindset allow tyranny to flourish? Yes. When not approached correctly, yes. I agree with you 100%. That what we're talking about is a very passive mindset. And when you're overly passive, you become a sheep. And yes, tyranny flourishes. You need both the passive and the active. You talk about forming communities. Beautiful. I love it. What do you think we're doing, baby? What do you think this channel is? My channel has got a few hundred active viewers. That's a community. Now I'll link up with a couple of my YouTuber homies. Say they have a few hundred active viewers. Now we've got 1,000 active viewers from 4 or 5 YouTubers. We want to build projects. We want to start a community. We want to start a company. I've already done it. I've already built things and started food co-ops and done things with this channel that we're building community as we speak. It's beautiful, baby. It's wonderful. We absolutely have to do that. But that doesn't mean we throw out the baby with the bathwater. We got to find the balance, right? We don't move further north, like you're saying. If we become passive, we move further north, like the example that you gave, and we eventually you run out of places to hide from. You take a stand. But I believe when the human psyche is developed, when we are no longer fearful, when we understand that we can be grateful for everything that's around us immediately, think about it. When people operate out of fear, when they operate out of lack, when they operate out of this woe is me mentality, this world is going to end, the scarcity mentality, that's when they're easier to control. That's obvious. People are extraordinarily easy to control when they are fearful. But if you have a population that's grateful for a blade of grass, that sees abundance as just having a roof over their head and food on their plate, now you have a population that's not acting out of fear. When you have a population that can say, I have happiness and contentness from growing sunflowers. I grew a sunflower, and now I have happiness. I grew pumpkins with the homies, I have happiness. I made my own beer with the homies, happiness. Simple, no money, didn't take massive amounts of land, right? This is where we're getting at. I agree with you that being all peace and all passive all the time is a perfect setup for tyranny. And I would argue that's why there's such a push for it in modern spirituality, because it does lean on the passive side. It does lean on the, oh, everything's all good. There's no such thing as bad. There's evil 100%. There's bad, objectively speaking, 100%. And if you don't think so, you will succumb to tyranny. I agree with you, man. We're on the same page. I just want to make sure that you understand this isn't it's all love and light YouTube channel. I'm not a love and light dude. I am a love, light, darkness, hate. It's everything. All I'm saying is, or the point maybe I can hammer in with this video is, fear and scarcity mindset makes people more controllable because they're in primal states of existence. They're fight or flight constantly. But when we can emphasize gratitude, when we can emphasize being content genuinely in small, mundane things, we can change our relationship to the world. We don't see scarcity. We're not afraid of our own shadows all the time. We're not afraid of invisible boogeymans. When someone comes along and says, the climate is in shambles and there's water scarcity and there's not enough food to go around. Are you kidding me? This planet, objectively speaking, has the most abundant resource on the planet is water, but you're trying to convince me that there's a shortage of water? No, there's a shortage of management. There's a shortage of intelligence. There's a shortage of people who aren't acting out of fight or flight. There's a shortage of people who aren't acting out of this base primal animal instinct. And when we can raise the consciousness, raise the frequency of the average human, we can see past the BS. We can see past the BS. We're no longer moving further north. trying to escape the madness. We stay right where we are and say no. We say no. Does that make sense? I agree with you. I just want to make sure that the page comes across in the right light. I don't know. What do you guys think? Am I being a little too, oh, it's all good, you just have to be grateful and you're going to get everything you want? That's not how it works. We're just trying to operate from different, healthier mind states. That's really what it comes down to. There's a higher vibrational mind state that you can act out of that will make the world a better place, including your own. And I promise you that's not just a gimmick. I promise.